Okay, so I'm playing some Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2019 10v10 team deathmatch on the Euphrates Bridge map. I've mentioned it before, and if you play this map, you'll know that playing on the Allegiance side puts you at a noticeable disadvantage because of how the map is not really symmetrical in its design. That's neither here nor there. In this video, I'm just going to talk about the in-game unlocks and just unlocks in general in video games, and things like achievements and trophies that involve like multi-step progress. So earlier this month, the Mark 9 Bruin became available for unlocking. It's basically the M249 saw. And requirements for unlocking this gun are using a light machine gun to kill an opposing player who is in or near the smoke of a smoke grenade, and you have to get 3 such kills in 15 different matches. So that's the way that I would word it. The way it's written in the game's menu, it's a lot more concise, but it's kind of unclear. And to make matters worse, other players have reported how the game doesn't seem to track their progress toward unlocking the Mark 9 Bruin. So some people have theorized that you and the other player have to be in or near the smoke. Other players have theorized that it's just you who needs to be in or near the smoke. So when I saw those types of videos and I saw those message board postings, like, that didn't really instill a lot of confidence, right? I put off going for that machine gun just because I didn't know if it was worth it. Like, even if I interpreted the in-game instruction correctly, would the game even track it, right? Even if the instruction was totally clear, was it telling me the correct thing, right? That's disheartening. So, I mean, I don't work in the game industry. I don't know how all development studios are set up, but it seems to me that, like, technical writing and technical editing is not really a priority. It's not really a staple of development teams the way that programmers and modelers are. Hopefully that kind of changes going forward, in which, you know, game developers and studios realize that you need to have experts who will go through every line of text, dialogue, label, and user interfaces and heads-up displays just to make sure that everything is crystal clear to players. But besides that, you also want to make sure that even for optional things, you want to make sure that what you're asking of players is reasonable and fair and accessible. So things like this, the unlock for this particular gun, it's not impossible. It's not totally unreasonable, but it is definitely toward that side. Like, if you have like a spectrum on one end, you've got super easy, and then on the other end, you've got impossible. The unlock for the Mark 9 Bruin is definitely toward the impossible side. It's not, even though it's not at that extreme, it's on that half of the spectrum. But things like, I remember in the PS3 era, early on, when trophies were added to that system, I think there was one game in which you had to be, like, if not at the very top, then near the top of, like, the online leaderboards in the entire world for the multiplayer mode. It was a first-person shooter. I think it was either maybe Resistance or Killzone. Like, that type of thing is totally unreasonable. Unfortunately, you don't really see those types of achievements and requirements and trophies very often. But just things like, you know, basically all online-based trophies, right? Because, right, game companies don't maintain online servers for their multiplayer modes forever, right? 5, 6, 7 years after the game's released, they generally tend to like pull those online servers just to save money, right? Because at that time, it's pretty rare that the game's multiplayer base will be full or viable or like worthwhile to the service. Yeah, so that's what I'd like to see. I mean, Modern Warfare 2019 is actually fairly good in that regard. For operator missions in which there's like several objectives, and most objectives involve like getting X number of kills with a particular weapon or with a certain perk. Like the game will let you know. You can pause the game, you can see your progress toward that objective or mission. The game does keep track of like your instances, like your 3 smoke grenade kill games, but it doesn't tell you when, it doesn't acknowledge when you get a smoke kill. So not that, like that, my most recent kill with the smoke grenade, I'm assuming that the game would track that. I'm trusting the game to recognize my most recent kill as being a smoke grenade kill, right? But I don't know for sure. I'm just kind of like, there's still an element of chance. But if the game had actually recorded it, then why not have some kind of indicator? Like maybe an on-screen overlay. Maybe if I can pause the game and I can see my most recent kill being acknowledged and recorded. Like that's just good usability practice. That's one of the 10 principles outlined by Jacob Nielsen. He is basically a guru in the field of human-computer interaction. In the mid-90s, he came up with like a set of 10 principles. He calls them heuristics, which are basically shortcuts for trial and learning. And one of the first principles on his list is making sure users are aware of the system status. And system status in this case would be progress toward an in-game unlock. So hopefully, I mean, the field is kind of new. Hopefully games kind of move toward that best practices. And I actually end up with the highest score in this game.